Sebastián Tiaga.
Grew up in a family surrounded by unconscious masculinity in Colombia. My innocence was hijacked.
From Tiaga to Sebastián.
Yeah.
From fire to wholeness.
It's been my healing journey and the journey to come back to myself. As a man, my own wounds, realizing at 33 that I was very disconnected from myself, or that I was far away from really truth.
If someone feels disconnected, lost to their sexuality, where do they begin?
Sexual energy is the most potent energy. One main seed, and is the disconnection with our essence and the shame that we have as men and the guilt that we carry, and is all rooted with our sexuality.
I do want to talk about the cock being a key to the truth. What does that actually mean on a deeper level?
Weak men are ejaculating every day and having unconscious sexuality every day. Powerful men have understand that that is their power, and they hold that power, and they use that power to have masculine presence, to have magnetism, to have presence.
I want to go to younger Sebastián, younger Tiaga. Could be that 7-year-old that was abused. What's the one thing you want to say to him, bro? If I could have one moment of your time. Most of you guys listening or watching do not subscribe to the channel. The simple and easiest way to help and support us is to subscribe. It helps us get the guests that you guys want, and it gives us a more opportunity to grow this thing to where we want to take it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the episode. Kia ora. Sebastián Tiaga, welcome to the Modern Show.
Welcome, brother. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How would you describe what it is that you do, bro?
It's been my healing journey and the journey to come back to myself. As a man, my own wounds, realizing at 33 that I was very disconnected from myself, or that I was far away from really truth, and having this big dark night of the soul and this big moment where everything just crumbled, and I went back to zero moment. And then I start walking that path back to myself. So that has been my journey, right? But the way that I entered that journey was healing my sexuality. And that's the tantric journey, basically. And so there's just different ways to express. And on my way of finding my own answers and healing my way, the way I share about it has changed also. It's like becoming more embodied and more clear, because I talk about testosterone, vitality, consciousness, inner child, premature ejaculation, porn, abuse, sexual distortion, like all different ways, but they all have one main seed, and is the disconnection with our essence and the shame that we have as men and the guilt that we carry, and is all rooted with our sexuality.
You've written guiding men back to truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And through even hearing you speak now, there's way, I guess it's so much more diverse than even I thought. But you're really big on semen retention, and you mentioned abuse, all these sorts of things. If someone feels disconnected, lost to their sexuality, where do they begin?
The path is always not necessarily they feel disconnected from their sexuality, you know? They just feel disconnected. They feel something is missing. And even if you have everything, it still doesn't click. Yeah. And some others are aware that they have numb and they have forget about their sexuality, or that they are hooked to unconscious sexuality and they're just leaking that energy. So it's like different fronts. But at the end is that calling from within that is calling them back home. So sexual energy is the most potent energy. And on my own path, that has been my medicine to come back home. I had a phase where it was all about semen retention. But the deeper I go and the deeper I embody it, I understood that the power is not in the retention, but in the transmutation. So I cultivate my fuel to put the engine to work, to clear what is not anymore in alignment or what is blocking my way to my truth. Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, of course, we need to have consciousness around our sexual energy, which majority we don't have. There's even like some pushed, or what would you say, like this, that you must ejaculate 21 times in order to avoid cancer, prostate cancer. And this is everywhere. I don't know if like in Latin America and everything, and it's just telling young men and men to just deplete themselves in order to avoid a cancer that they can have in 20 years. Who knows if you're going to be alive in 20 years? Why are you again like from fear mongering or being in your mind of something that causes you fear to work from there? And honestly, if you're depleted, you're going to get cancer easier. So I'm not a doctor, and I'm not saying like you choose to put a vaccine or not. That's it. You choose to do A or B. But for sure, sexual energy is the most potent energy and is medicine. And if you're throwing it away and you don't understand what it is, you are depleted, you are disempowered. And we need that energy if we're going to start the hero journey. So you mentioned it very clear. Walking back, guiding men back to their truth. We are in the path to come back to ourselves, to our truth. What separates us from our truth? The shame, the guilt, the trauma, the experiences that we live as boys until we are adults. Who do we end up being today? Far from truth. We don't live from authenticity. We don't speak authenticity. We have masks over and over and over. I had many of them. I was bullied when I was a child. In school, my first strong mask, arrogance. I cannot be vulnerable. I cannot be authentic because you will bully me. So I'm very strong and just push people away. Don't even come near me. A mask that has been so in me because it was a protection mechanism that I've been tearing down for years and years and years. So am I being in my truth? No. So in order to tear those masks and remove those blocks from the heart and those chains, you need vitality. It's a transmutation process. It's fire. It's why it calls the hero journey. So if you're watching porn, if you're conscious ejaculating, if you have an unconscious lifestyle, if you don't sleep well, if you're losing your testosterone in many ways, but the major way to leak your testosterone is conscious ejaculation, which this is also something big. Many men are on the path of like building up and being so wellness, and then they continue to have conscious ejaculation. You're like fueling and unfueling, fueling and like leaking, fueling, leaking. Back to becoming to the truth, to becoming to yourself, you need vitality, bro. It's definitely warrior mode. It's definitely fire dragon mode. To the fear, to the pain, to the shame, to the guilt, to the mask, to the entities, to everything that is living within you in your subconscious and is telling you that you are not, that is keeping you trapped. Because at the end, everything in this human organism gets hijacked, and then it's just keeping you trapped because apparently it's protecting you. So you better say no. No, you don't belong there. No, how are you going to move out to another country? No, how are you going to do this? No, how are you going to do that? How are you going to speak? No, remember that they bullied you when you did. No, remember that you were abandoned when you did. No, remember that you were rejected when you did. No, stay quiet. Stay in the fucking trap. So that needs energy. That needs fire. That needs vitality. So your medicine is in your balls, and you are the alchemist. And you start redirecting that energy, channeling that energy to bring you back to truth. And on the way back to truth is going to confront and turn on fire everything that is separating you from truth. And that is the hero journey, and that is the healing journey.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of men would be operating unaware, unconsciously, particularly about everything that you've just mentioned. So how do you know, you mentioned the word leaking.
Yeah.
You mentioned some common leaks. How do you know if you are leaking? I'm assuming first that must be awareness and observation. But how do you know if you're leaking?
You're depleted. You're looking for validation. You're living from the power of others. You have fear. You have anxiety. You don't have trust. You don't trust in yourself. You're running away from yourself. You're striving for power and recognition, but you haven't found that within yourself. That's leaking energy. That's not holding your power. And if we bring it more into the topic, leaking energy is leaking your semen. Just ejaculating unconsciously, just because I'm stressed, because I need to sleep, because I'm bored. Because that energy starts building, right? And you don't have the capacity to hold it. That's how little is your container to hold power.
It's almost discipline as well, right?
In the beginning is discipline to the mind, but at the end, this path is a devotional path. Like discipline vanishes or transforms into devotion. Like I'm doing this because I start having clarity. I have vitality. I have even better erection. I'm a better lover. I have a backbone. I'm not shaking with the waves that life bring me. I'm able to surf them. So when you realize that that medicine is giving you that, then there is awareness for you to not throwing it away, but or not leak it. But again, there's a lot in this. It's simple, but it's complex. Because a point that I wanted to bring it's not about suppressing, because at the end that will never work again. Yeah. Because going a step farther, if I want to use my energy as vitality and do this transmutation process, this leads me immediately to heal the relationship with my genitals. So, of course, ignoring them or suppressing myself, it will continue to have that disconnection.
I'm now thinking about the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And what does it look like if you are connected?
What is disconnection? Yeah. Sadness, depression, not embodiment. What is connection? Embody it. An embodied man. A man in his presence. A man that has confronted his fears and his shadows and has reclaimed himself. You feel his energy. You feel the radiance. You feel the presence. Woman feels it because it has masculine presence. He's embodied. And that training doesn't come from a book, doesn't come from muscles. It comes from mastering your energy and sitting with your discomfort and not numbing and not running away. So let's use this example. I'm not saying it's like that. But if you're escaping from your emotions in the gym, you might have a great body, but you are an embodied man. You're escaping from to sitting with your discomfort, to facing your abandonment, to facing your fears, to facing the wounded boy. You're on the surface and you're still walking with projection and validation through an image that is not real. Because what is truth? the heart, the spirit. We're saying man coming back to truth. That's not muscles. That's not the best bike. That's not jewelry. That's not the best villa in Canggu. That's a man that his balls are full of power and he holds his power. And he has reclaimed his truth and he's walking that path. There's a hero journey. He drops in with his emotions. He feels them. He breathes them. He speaks them. He's vulnerable enough to say, I need help. I need support. I need brothers, or have brothers that confront him, that listen to him. That's an embodied man. So sitting with your emotions is the same. That's semen retention. Because when that energy starts building up, if you're doing the work of transmuting, which you require a technology, semen retention just, oh, let me retain my semen, and you're not having a technology to bring this energy up, you will fail. 95% of men that don't understand it and they try to practice, they fail. They have blue balls, it hurts them, they have wet dreams because they start feeling that tank, but they don't open the pipes to go up in the spine, up to the heart. So it's not about only feeling the tank. It's about turning on the engine that then uses the fuel of the tank to start doing the process of transmutation and healing and bringing all that energy up in through your energy centers, solar plexus, chakra centers, spine, all the way up to your brain, and just that all that process that is alchemy, that is sexual alchemy, sublimation.
I can see how you mentioned earlier, it's simple, but it's also complex, complicated. Yeah. I can see when you started describing that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Martin Show First Ad Break. For anyone who is wanting to go on a new journey, learn a new skill, we have started our basic beginners boxing fundamentals course. For anyone, if it's your first time, if you're a seasoned member, this is the course for you in the boxing space or fitness space. Click the link below or go to onlineboxingtraining.com and I'll see you guys there. Let's get some mahi, eh? I do want to talk about the cock.
Yeah.
You mentioned the balls.
Yeah.
I think, this is an area that I haven't spoken about much. This is a little bit uncomfortable for me, but this is your mahi, bro. So you mention, or you often speak about the cock being a key to the truth.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean on a deeper level?
As men, we are carrier of consciousness. And our essence is to penetrate. But do you penetrate from shame and guilt, or you penetrate from your heart? And the cock is cock energy, is our essence as men. But many of us are still like boys, no understanding and not really having that healthy relationship with our cock, understanding that that's the source and the essence of our power. So it all starts from there, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's just this hijack or this unconsciousness of the most important part of ourselves. And this is why I keep preaching this. And like, men's work is incomplete if it ignores sexuality, because that's the root of the disconnection. So there must come a moment in your healing journey, in your wellness journey, in your striving to be a conscious man, that you need to go back to your cock.
And do you think weak men have weak balls?
Weak men are leaking their energy. That's why they're weak. Weak men are losing hours in the computer in pornography, and they are unconscious ejaculating. Weak men are drinking alcohol. Weak men are ejaculating every day and having unconscious sexuality every day. Powerful men have understand that is their power, and they hold that power, and they use that power to have masculine presence, to have magnetism, to have presence, and to work with presence. A man that is unaware and conscious of sexuality uses sex to finish. A man that is embodied uses sex to transcend, to become one, to move his energy, to heal. When you remove ejaculation from sex, when the goal is not to ejaculate, what's left? Intimacy.
Passion.
Yeah. And
Connection.
intimacy, which connection, intimacy, because you're not in an act, robotic act, after a pleasure that is 5 seconds and end. And then you end and you're like, oh, you need to sleep, you're depleted, you need recovery time, you maybe don't want to see your partner anymore for 1 day or 2 or whatever. When you learn to circulate that energy, so we could change the word from retention to circulate, circulation, because when you learn to circulate in the act, you're no longer having multi-orgasms, you're circulating your energy, you're feeling yourself of vitality, you are in your heart, you can actually hold your partner 1 orgasms, 2 orgasms, you have better erection, but that requires presence. And in order to circulate your energy, you must have clear what was blocking the channels. And what's blocking the channels? The shame, the guilt, the trauma, the stories. And if that's blocking the channels, what does that mean? Disconnection from truth. So it all connects. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, bro. I just feel like it's something that, particularly for a lot of young men, don't learn or don't realize probably until a later stage when they're probably ready. Or I just feel like the information or education is not there. It's not directly there.
Yeah, no.
And so I guess my question around this idea of masculinity, how do you think your work, the work that you do, challenges the idea of mainstream masculinity?
Masculinity, until a few years back, is this macho man, is the one that doesn't feel, is the one that is strong, is the one that pushes hard, is the one that burns out, is the one that can fuck many people, and that's far away from masculinity. Conscious masculinity is conscious with yourself, presence, embodiment. I would say conscious masculinity is healing with your feminine. I would say that that's the equation. Conscious masculinity is opening your heart, is healing with your inner child, is vulnerability, is softness. The opposite that we were trained to, what masculinity was.
And that's what I mean about the education that's out there.
So education, and again, disconnection. So very quick, let's go back a little bit when that disconnection happens, because it goes with education. So the boy is born, or basically we are young, we're boys, and there's a lack of education in our essence, and no one told us or tell us, hey, love your dick. Is your essence, is your power. Son, if you want to be a man of confidence, of presence, of trust, if you actually want to attract women to your life or your partners and walk like the man you're supposed to be, love your dick. Look at it. That's your essence right there. That represents your masculine presence. And you hold your erection with confidence and don't let anyone shame it. And there's nothing bad for having your dick, for loving your dick, and for experiencing it your erection. And at some point you will ejaculate, and that is called sperm, and that brings life. And there's nothing bad about it. It's actually pure consciousness. From there you were born. So you have a lot of power. Your semen is the carrier of consciousness, and it's there for procreation. But here's the trick, or here is the main secret of the powerful men. When you don't use your semen to procreate human, to bring life, you can use that energy to build your dreams and for your own rebirthing process. So this is your awareness. So pornography is this, and unconscious sexuality is this, and these are programs that keep men disconnected and disempowered. So with that awareness as a boy that you want to be the best version of yourself, with which path you choose. And if that's built, if that's put in our minds, and that's that message comes from our parents, from our, and it will definitely shape us as a completely different man. But instead, how did we grow up? Our erection is shame. Even if our mother or our sister or someone saw us for the first time an erection, oh my God, he has an erection. Oh my God. Oh, put that down. You never showed that up. I'm going to tell you something. You don't even touch that right now. Immediately, that's the disconnection to our power. The school, whatever. So we start being ashamed of something that is natural and that is hanging, that is in our body, and that is the essence of our masculinity and the source of our power. So we learn that we have to do it behind the scenes. So it's already in the shadow. No one can see me. This is not good. This is not also. Let's talk about dogma or religion. This is not from God. This is sin. Christians, whatever, they don't touch it. They don't do this. Secrets. So you are already ashamed, and this is wrong. You have received a program that this is not correct. This cannot be in the light. It needs to be on the darkness. So then who teaches you sex? Pornography. If my parents are not embodied enough and they don't have the right information and the wisdom to show me the path, I'm going to find it somewhere else because I cannot ignore it, because it's within me, is my essence. I'll have an erection every morning. I'll feel desire every 2 hours. It will feel good for me to ejaculate. How can I repress it? How can I ignore it? You're telling me it's not from God. You're telling me to ignore it. You're telling me that it's not good, that I only do it with myself or with my partner when I will get married. What happens? I mean, like, what happens then from 12 to 18 or 20 or until I get married? But then again, there's the screen and there's the sex where all these people are doing all sort of things. So that's my teacher. So then I understand distorted sexuality. So the energy is not flowing anymore between my power and my heart is disconnected from that guilt, from that shame, from who I am supposed to be, from all these stories, from limited beliefs, from dogma, from religion. It's already built in the middle of me, stored. So then I am programmed to do this in the unconscious way. And I'm depleting and I don't have awareness. And then I start growing up so then what is power outside of me? What is masculinity? Material things. What is this? Everything outside of me. And what is the collective moment right now? The call to come back to truth. And you'll have to start that path one day or the other, because that's the only way to rise and to come back to yourself. And that's awakening.
Sebastian, what got you into this line of work. You mentioned a little bit about your story earlier, and I think it's important we go there. What would we need to know about your early life, your early context, to understand more of the man that sits with me today?
Yeah, I grew up in a family in a surrounded by unconscious masculinity in Colombia, and I was exposed to a very young age to like a farm and a space where like there will be alcohol and drinking and woman and all of that unconscious sexuality. And in that moment, my innocence was hijacked. And then all of a sudden, I stopped being a boy that played with cars, and I just start sexualizing things and leaking my energy and wanting sex and being promiscuous and just like very young age, just like this hijack program in my mind that it was just like sex, 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 pornography, masturbate, seduce this person, just try to have sex, 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 sex. And grew up like that and continue to be like that. And then building a fake persona where I am this sexy Latino and I just fuck everyone. And even being celebrated by that. But behind that was that child, that boy that was exposed to distortion when he was young and abuse that corrupted and hijacked his innocence. And since that moment, he's disempowered because of that disconnection. He's controlled by his urges, he's controlled by sex. So he's leaking. So that's until I was like that, I will have never found my power or found my truth. So I was a man that I had different ventures in my life. I live in many countries. Um, I succeed for a little time because the structures were planted in the fake personas that I was. So there was never a strong base to hold these realities, so they will ever crumble. So I've had many deaths, and it's painful to build a life for validation, to build a life for who you are supposed to be, and then have a moment where like dark night of the soul or whatever happens and everything crumbles, but there's no one to blame. And it's not even blaming yourself, but it's just understanding like, bro, you build that life from your fake self, it will crumble. So I had many of these of those moments, and only recently in this path, in my last death, I had a realization where I don't need to reinvent myself in a new way. I just get to be me this time.
From Tiaga to Sebastian, from
Yeah,
fire to wholeness.
yeah,
I love that, bro. I
yeah.
love that. And it caught my eye instantly. So was Tiaga your first name when you were born?
No, Sebastian.
Sebastian was your
Yeah,
first name, and
yeah,
Tiaga was your last name.
yeah,
And you mentioned that Tiaga was the fire,
yeah,
and you built this sort of inner world of discipline, of solitude,
yeah,
of action, right?
yeah,
And that's sort of created now a man of truth,
yeah,
a man of presence, spirit, all
yeah,
these sorts of things.
yeah.
But you mentioned that you could no longer walk as Tiaga. You could no longer walk with that fire. And I want to know why.
Tiaga came a few months after I landed in Bali 6 years ago. And I was already in this hero path, in this journey coming back to myself. And as you mentioned, past 5, 6 years, my goal was to come back to truth. And yeah, when you awake and you want to come back to yourself, you need fire. The same vitality I told you in the beginning. you need that dark masculine. It's a warrior mode. You need your your sword, and you need your fire, and you need the dragon energy, and sometimes you need to like bring that dragon fire out to like darkness and entities and anything that is inside of you and be like, out! This is me! This is my kingdom! That is a dragon that is reclaiming himself and whatever he needs to do. The goal is to come back to truth, which is the heart, which is this softness, the vulnerability. So once you reach there, you don't need the sword anymore. There's no need of confrontation. It's a fire that becomes home, that warms you up, not that burns you out. So it's beautiful because it's mastering that fire. But for years, I was like that dragon that I had to be in the middle of nowhere, and just a wounded dragon healing himself, but focus on that, but yet hasn't landed in his heart. So if you come nearby, he will probably be like, wow. But I cannot continue to be like that because I want love, I want family, I want friends, I want community. So how do you unlock all of that? From an open heart. Truth, authenticity, vulnerability, softness, being yourself. So Tiaga is a lifestyle, and that's what I teach to men, actually. And for me, Tiaga is embodied with me. I can destroy this room in a moment. I can tear down in other dimensions darkness. I will fight for my soul if someone comes and attack. You cannot even get close. I'll become that dragon times 20. So it's embodied with me. But while he's not in alert, or I don't have to protect myself, now I have reclaimed my inner child. So he's the one that plays. He's the one that lives from joy. And I mean and that's the frequency that brings life, that brings love, that brings prosperity, that brings magnetism. So I think before we start recording, you were like, should I work? We were talking about working hard and striving. And we're talking about embodiment. So when you have opened your heart and you have done that work, you stop working hard or less and less, and you stop striving, because an open heart magnetizes. I get high ticket clients from eating a restaurant, not from marketing. I did 2 weeks ago. In the eyes, and he's like, I saw you have a mastermind with men, nice to meet you. And then, wow, but meeting you, like, I can really see in you that energy that I saw in Instagram. Would you like to have a coffee with me? And I'm like, yeah, bro, let's have a coffee. And then we had a coffee, and actually this man was very wounded, and it's like, I can support you. And then that afternoon, it was a client that I wasn't selling, and I really need to support him, but it's high ticket, and I got paid, and we're doing the work. It's embodiment. So was I working hard? No, I was in my favorite steak place, which is far away from where I live, and I go once every 2 months because it's not around my place. And I'm nearby. I'm gonna go and have my 600-gram steak. It's just there. So energy brings energy. So when you are disconnected, when you are leaking your energy, when you are trying to have validation, trying to be accepted, trying to continue to perform a mask that are not you, you have to strive. You have to convince people, you have to strive, you have to burn out, you have to force yourself, you have to work hard. Because you haven't landed in yourself, you don't trust yourself. You don't have you don't have energy and magnetism that without speaking, people notice you. You have to scream out loud. And that marketing strategy, less and less, is have people resonance because more people are awakened today. And energy speaks before you speak.
You were seeking to rescue Sebastian.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you needed to go through Tiaga in order to
Yeah.
capture or land on Sebastian?
Yeah. Stop dreaming about that you can just like have positive affirmations or have like a quick pill to avoid the hero's journey and facing your fears and all of that. You'll have to go back to the root and you'll have to clear that out. Joy, peace, confidence is not something that is on a high peak. True joy, true confidence is not something that just goes high and low. It's something that is sustainable. So ask yourself, is my confidence, is my trust, is my peace sustainable, or is ups and down, up and down? If it's up and down, you have work to do. So do it. And if you keep thinking that happiness is getting that house, is earning this money, then you're running away from truth. Because that will be not sustainable, but will be a moment of happiness. But then you will want something bigger or more. Or there will be a river that collapses your house. So then your happiness is not hanging on something that is stable, because everything outside of you changes. So only when you hold to the part of you that never change, which is truth, which is spirit, which is soul, then you will find stability within you. And only from that stability, you can hold the universe and this dimension.
Do you feel Tiaga try to come back into you or try and creep up on you?
It's there, man. Like when I am in working mode, or when I have to, when I there's a moment of intuition or something where like there needs to be this dark masculine confrontation for men, for example, when I work with. But that confrontation without embodiment will burn out. You cannot be a teacher that just confront and fire everyone, but is not from the heart. That has been a process for me. That's where I stand today, thanks to my work and the commitment to free Sebastian, to free my inner child, to open my heart. And that's that embodiment that I keep on building. But I definitely am a more real man today than 4 or 5 years ago when I started this journey, 100%. But it's because I've opened my heart. I'm closer to my truth. I have more awareness. But we all have that dark masculine, and it needs to be there. And we should not fear about it, because but it needs to come out in a conscious way, when you have to protect yourself, when you have to protect your family, when you have to protect what's truth. But you see the difference when only living from there.
Absolutely.
So he's a peaceful warrior.
Yeah, I've always been so interested in navigating the warrior mindset, the psycho competitor, and a gentle soul, and sort of combining them.
Yeah.
There are certain individuals that I look up to for this, across different industries. But if there is men out there listening, young lads out there that are wanting to dive more into their Sebastian, their feminine, their child, it's a similar question to I asked you earlier, but where do they start? Where's the beginning step for them?
I'll speak from my experience,
Mm.
but look that for me to reach Sebastian, I walked the fire.
Mm.
I embodied my dragon.
Mm.
So many men that are soft, not from softness and vulnerability, but weak, they are rejecting their masculinity. They are afraid of their fire.
Mm.
So the only way that they reach their power and come back to their heart is that they embody their dragon. And they put that warrior mode and they confront everything that is telling them that they're weak. Pornography, leaking, validation, bad food, scrolling, leaking testosterone, all of that behind, I don't want to feel pain. Feel your pain, go to the root of the wounds that you carried. But for that, you need vitality, and that requires a warrior mode. And this is exactly what Tantra teaches. Tantra teaches forge your masculine presence so you can hold the feminine. So build your presence, your masculine presence. So then the feminine feels safe and comes out and leans to you. Your inner feminine is your inner boy. It's your softness, your vulnerability. So only until you have cleared your demons inside of you, your inner boy will put the head out and feel safe to be like, oh, there is conscious masculine outside that if I come out, it won't hurt me.
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
Therefore, I can come out.
Therefore, I can come
express.
out.
Therefore, I can be vulnerable.
So Sebastian came out, my inner boy, and I'm in that process to have that awareness and that consciousness, and I have done all that work. But it's very vulnerable, and then also it feels very vulnerable because at the end I am Sebastian also, and he's just coming out. So all of a sudden he feels like a little afraid to talk or a little afraid to be seen, or because and this is now the reprogramming or telling him as an adult, hey, I know we're feeling agitated, but this time no one is going to bully you. I'm with you. You're already out. You can speak now. You can walk. And he's been like, but last time I did this 25 years ago, a school of 1,000 people bully me. Are you promise me I'm not going to be bullied again? It looks good, but I'm afraid. And you're like, hey, it's okay. But you'll feel that again. When, again, even it's a process of breaking him free and then showing him that now he's safe until it fully feels safe and until he's living again freely.
Yeah, I want to quote something you wrote because I think it's beautiful and very on topic for what we're talking about. To those who have been, thank you for seeing beyond names. To those arriving now, welcome to the place where the story is told without mask. I still guide, yes, in real spaces, with the same strength and far more humanity, but no longer to make you a version of me, rather to walk with you as you return to you. This is my public rite of passage. I set the mantle on the ground. I breathe. I am Sebastian. And from this voice, my own, I walk. Oh, I love that so much, bro.
Yeah.
And a big lesson that I took away from that for me personally was I like to consider myself a leader. I know that people look up to me, rely on me, but I tend to, again, make them a version of me. And so here, seeing this and reading this, it's been a big lesson for myself going forward to, it's not about making that individual a version of me as Zach. It's about returning them to themselves. And so it's something great for me to be going forward, something to be aware of. I'm not too sure how that plays in yet, but I've got some work to do there. Welcome to the Martin Show First Ad Break. For anyone who is wanting to go on a new journey, learn a new skill, we have started our basic beginners boxing fundamentals course. For anyone, if it's your first time, if you're a seasoned member, this is the course for you in the boxing space or fitness space. Click the link below or go to onlineboxingtraining.com and I'll see you guys there. Let's get some mahi, eh? Bro, I wanted to ask you around fuel, essentially fire, right? Now it's Sebastian. Where does your fuel come from now, bro?
Still, medicine, sexual energy, number one. And then harmony within me. For me, living in Bali is what I have the possibility to live in nature and to be in connection with nature and to keep myself in harmony with the elements and with the beat of the creation. That gives vitality. So when we're rushing, when we're running, when we're not connected with nature, nature is essence, is truth. It's the same connection. We are in fumes, yeah. But for me, the opportunity of being here, being in nature, not necessarily needs to be Bali, but being in nature keeps my organism in harmony. I wake up with the sun rising. I go to bed by 10 p.m. I eat good foods. I take the sun. I work out. I wake up when the sun rises because I do my spiritual practice around 5:30 when the sun is rising. I drink good water. I massage my body. All of that brings me into harmony with myself. So I'm not in. When you have anxiety or you have depression or you have all of this, is when those elements within you are not in balance. So yeah, I don't want to jump from concepts, but the body is this engine that transforms everything. It's beautiful. It's so powerful. If you want to stay healthy and have the best by inner biohacking or this engine working the best for yourself, you just have to give him the right conditions. Good sleep, nature, good water, good breathing, connection to spirit, devotion, grounding to the earth, all of that. And like that, your body then will heal, will have power. And on top of that, if you have conscious of your power and your sexual energy and you keep your body fuel, people ask me how long you ejaculate. Every 4 or 6 weeks.
Wow.
I'm never retaining. And I'm never counting.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe today I felt aroused and I come home and I feel that energy and maybe I want to dance and move that energy, or maybe I want to release. And maybe last time I released was 2 weeks ago. That doesn't happen often because I feel very different when I ejaculate.
Yeah.
Like I feel I release part of my fuel. I feel kind of like a hangover after ejaculating for like a day. But the majority of men are in that hangover and they don't realize. So when I teach men this, after 7 days, their eyes are open, their radiancy, they have electricity, and they're like, and I'm like, yeah, you thought you were in the comfort, like you were living, you were comfort in your low grade living.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Comfortable there.
You were comfortable there.
Comfortable in the
with
hangover
living
state.
in fumes, in
Yeah.
hangover state. Exactly. In only 7 days of cultivating your sexual energy with the right transmutation, you have 45% more of testosterone from studies. So yeah, it's integral. Like we are mind, body, and spirit. So it's like 33, 33, 33. And those are different three main fronts to bring health and to bring vitality into everything that we are. So the mind needs content, the body needs content and love, and the spirit needs content and love. Many of us are only aware, focused, or conscious about the body because we're disconnected from the emotional body and we don't work the mind with meditation. So, okay, let's look into your lab test. Body 100, mind 0, emotional body 0, lows. To be whole, to feel great, we need to work all of them. So that's why I meditate, I work my energy, and I work my body.
What scares you now? What
What?
would you say is your biggest fear now?
Bro, less and less, no fear. Honestly. And the yogi is every day working towards being okay with death. I could say that's one of what a yogi means. Like being a yogi is not stretching your leg on the yoga shala. Being a yogi is striving to connect with your spirit, to be connected with what is truth. And if you connect with what is truth and you have a relationship with what is real within you, which is eternal, which never changes, which will transcend. So why will you be afraid when something that does has a date, a deadline will finish? Right? That said, I will never would love to have would never would I wouldn't like to have a sickness or something difficult. But we have a path, but and we came already with this choosing the challenges that we wanted to have in this life. And then there is the whole karma, dharma, but there is free will, and you can choose to rise your frequency or you can choose to lower your frequency. And the sages and the yogis said, and I believe on that. In the frequency that you die, you will continue. And that's where karma comes. The way I take that for me is the more I am connected with myself and everything in my life moves from there, the less I will suffer. I have moments in these years where like I went to $50. So does that define my power? Does that define me as a man? Those were tests of how much I'm trusting my path. And from $70, I had $20,000. 3 high ticket clients in 3 days out of nowhere. And I learned to laugh at some point. I'm like, you love testing me, man. But I passed, or dengue, dying in the hospital. Horrible. But the way I felt during dengue was like, wow, how much I have built that backbone within myself. I was able to observe the experience without killing me. And that is masculine presence. And that's the path of becoming the man and being embodied as a man. It's a life that is polarity, is a life that will bring challenges. How much have you built up yourself inside of you? And how much are you connected with truth, that when things come to you that are difficult or that end, they don't define you or they don't take your power away?
I want to go to younger Sebastian, younger Tiaga. Could be that 7-year-old that was abused. What's the one thing you want to say to him, bro?
That's your initiation. That's where your mastery begins. You choose this path. I got you. I got you. I love you. But these are your biggest lessons, and they'll from pain to power. Because from your pains come your power.
Sebastian, my final question.
Mm.
If the business vanished,
Mm.
all the content that you've shared, deleted, and you had 60 seconds left, what is the one final thought you'd want to leave with the world?
I found myself. I found my truth. I had these thoughts recently because it can happen. But only now, since that post that you left, that you read about, no longer Tiaga, I am Sebastian. You know, I'm not doing this for anyone. I'm doing this for myself. And I truly have found peace within me. I truly have found company within me. I truly feel millionaire within me. I found my treasure within me. And that no one can take away, and that will never be robbed, and that will never go down. So that's where I live my life from now. You know?
Beautiful.
So I've done this work all these years, not to have a new career, to be a coach and to be a leader, and to have followers and to all of that, but to come back to myself. And honestly, my dreams, I want my partner, I want my dogs, I want my house, I want my home. And whatever I continue to do, I want it to be effortless. I want it to be brings magnetism, but nothing that takes away my peace, my joy, my vitality. So I'm less and less detached from the work, from the world, 100%. And if at some point Instagram collapses or anything collapses, well, that didn't define me. You know, I have found myself. So I rest in peace.
Sebastian, we have a closing tradition on this podcast where the previous guest asks the next guest a question, not knowing who they are. So the question for you today is, if you could change and choose one moral belief for the whole planet to have, what would it be?
That sex is bad. That is dirty. That is sin. So if you want to find everything that you want, the only way out is within.
Sebastián Tiaga. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
Where can the people find you, man?
Tiaga.world and thesanctum.world.
Now, I appreciate your time today.
Instagram.
I also appreciate, I guess, the mahi that you do, the work that you do. As we're talking about education and knowledge before, it's something that I feel like, particularly for a lot of lads in New Zealand, where I'm from, we're not really taught a lot of these things. So when I first heard you speak, I was amazed because it was new to me, but it was also, I could feel it, you know? I could feel what you were bringing, what you were talking about. I hadn't quite fully encapsulated it all. And I got a lot of work to do. So to many of the listeners, I bet. But man, your mahi is important, bro. So I appreciate you and thank you.
Thank you, my bro, for having me and to have this space to continue to share this. And you said you felt something when I was sharing. It's within you. We're remembering. That's where we are, in the remembering mode. So I'm just sharing what I remembered and what is within every one of us.
That concludes another episode of The Martin Show, team. We will drop Sebastian's details below. We will also drop _ The Martin Show right here. Make sure you're subscribing to this channel, and we're going to be back next week for another episode. Mauri ora, kia ora. Thank you.